Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of On the Range podcast with Hogg Tactical and Kelley Defense. I'm your host, Mark Kelley from KelleyDefense.com. Wherever you are, thank you for making us part of today. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl down in New Orleans this past weekend. We're going to talk a little bit about that. We're also going to talk about some of the court stuff going on with some of these executive orders and some of the Doge activities. And we're also going to talk about some stuff going on in South Africa. Rick is still out of town. He will be back later this week and beginning of next week. So we'll be doing some old-fashioned On the Range podcast with both of us. But make sure you swing by ontheRangePodcast.com and check out the new website. Check out the crew membership page. All you got to do is click the red button. You can try it for free. And also, while you're out there, swing by warhog.com and kellydefense.com and sign up for the email lists and check out all the past episodes, audio episodes of On the Range podcast. They're all available. So anyway, this past weekend was the Super Bowl. And I got to tell you, a lot of people think it wasn't that great of a game. I think it was a very good game. Just because the score wasn't super competitive, I thought we got to see how good Jalen Hurts is. I've been a big Jalen Hurts fan. I always thought that, even though they won the national championship game in Alabama when he was benched at halftime, I always felt bad for him because I thought that he would have won that game for sure because Georgia was dominating. But when they came out after the halftime and made all their adjustments, they didn't give him a chance to play. And Tua came in and did a great job. Took it to overtime and won it with a 25, 26-yard overtime touchdown. And, they both went on to have great careers. Jalen actually left Alabama, went to Oklahoma Sooners and was a starting quarterback because he didn't want to, be a backup. He's a talent. He's a for real talent. And I always thought he was great. He ended up getting drafted in the second round, made it to the Super Bowl in his second year, and he outplayed Patrick Mahomes in that game. It's just the team ended up losing. And then he comes back, and now he's the NFL MVP. And I thought it was a great display of his talent. And I thought Philadelphia's defensive line played lights out. But a lot of the stuff was about the Super Bowl was centered over the commercials, and we'll talk about that. And they were also talking about the halftime. And I got a take on that you might be a little surprised of. So we'll talk about that. But a big one was T Swifty getting booed. Now, to be fair to her, I heard just as many cheers, positive cheers. It wasn't super loud, but I did hear some positive cheers for T Swifty. And look, she's probably getting booed because she's the boyfriend of the Kansas City Chiefs. So half the stadium was rooting for Philadelphia, right? And I think Travis Kelce is probably the best tight end, to ever play in the NFL up to this point. He is phenomenal. Didn't have a great game, of course, but anyway, I think she took it pretty good. I think she didn't make a big deal out of it, and it is what it is. Probably wasn't the greatest. I disagree with who she endorsed for the presidency, of course, but hey, that's what America is all about. But the roar for President Trump was overwhelmingly positive. Overwhelmingly positive. He is super popular right now. I think his approval rate's like 53%. 53%. And with Latino voters, I think he's like 49% positive reaction to his first 3 weeks. And I think that has a lot to do with him basically saying or doing what he said he was going to do, what he ran on. Now, whether or not he gets blocked and there's some road bumps and stuff like that, that's irrelevant. He is doing what he said he was going to do. So none of this stuff is a surprise. None of this stuff is a surprise at all. But him being there, a lot of red, white, and blue. I thought that I know a lot of people were given the performer who did the national anthem. I thought he did great. I thought he sounded phenomenal. A little bit of a blues flavor to it, but didn't change the words up. I thought he was great. I thought he was great. And I thought it was moving. Some of the players were moved by it, being thankful that they're in the United States of America. And that's another thing you could say about this past Super Bowl is it was very pro-American. Very pro-American. Now, there are some things that people can point to, sure, but very pro-American, and I liked it. I want to see red, white, and blue all over the place. I want to see the president. Can't believe that. It's hard for me to believe that no one sitting president had not attended the Super Bowl. I'm surprised by that, but good for him. I know he couldn't stay for the whole game. That's probably a security matter. And I know they didn't show him very often because that's a security matter as well, pinpointing his location, that kind of thing. But no, I thought it was a great. I actually enjoyed it, and to be honest with you, the past few years, I haven't really paid that much attention to it. But I was really curious about the three-peat for Patrick Mahomes, who's a phenomenal quarterback in a great situation with Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs, and they took advantage of it. But the dominance of Philadelphia was just unbelievable. So let's talk about the commercials before we get to the halftime show. Now, the commercials. Look, let's talk about Bud Light. Bud Light has not really recovered. They have not recovered at all. They have lost billions of dollars on their market cap. They really have, and it hasn't recovered. Now, I know I said that they should have made a point, people, and they did, and it was rightfully so, getting away from that trans crap. Again, my contention is I don't care what you do or how you live your life, and I'll be polite, and I will do my best to be polite in addressing anybody that their way that they're respectfully asked me to address them. I have no problem with that. It's when you start to compel speech and start telling me to believe and that I should preach things that just are fundamentally untrue. I'm not going to do it. Science is science. It is what it is. But I want everybody to live their best life. Just don't shove it down my throat and tell me I'm a bad person because I believe in the truth. Sorry. But at the same time, live your life. I support everyone to live their life the way they want. But that was a horribly tone deaf to their market by putting Dylan Mulvaney on the can. Now, they did it for other people, but that was a tactical error that they are still paying for. Now, having said that, I think that if you like Bud Light, people should be fine buying it and drinking it. And I thought the commercials were good. They went from the extreme progressive stuff all the way to bro out city. You know, shooting cans out of leaf blowers and doing stuff like that with the comedian and Post Malone, Shane Gillis. I thought the commercial was great. Peyton Manning was on there. I thought it was a good commercial. I did. So my contention now is that's an American company. I know it's owned by the Indev or whoever that company is, but look, it employs an awfully lot, tens of thousands of Americans. So I want them to be around. I want them to be successful. Even if you have to buy their other products and you don't want to buy Bud Light, just don't worry about, go out there and support Americans who are out there working. And that's just how I feel about it. But yeah, the commercials I thought were, kind of underwhelming, honestly. I mean, there's nothing that jumped out at me. I thought the Harrison Ford one was pretty weird. I'm not going to buy an electric Jeep. I'm not going to do it. But, you know, hey, it was okay. It was okay. I didn't have too much of a problem. Now, I know Nike was given a bunch of crap. I actually think that the high school flag football for females is a great idea. I think it's pretty successful down in Florida. I think it's great. I think Snoop Dogg is involved in some of that too. I think it's a great idea. I think they should do it. If you can get people and kids, girls to participate and they want to participate and it's self-sustaining. Now, can we subsidize it with other? Sure, absolutely. But it can't take away from anybody else. That's the only thing. Everything should be based on that. You can do something, but you can't force it to the point where it takes away from somebody else. If it doesn't make money, it doesn't make money. If it's not fiscally possible without hurting somebody else, then you can't do it. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. But I thought it was good. Now, let's get to the halftime. Let me pull this up. If you're listening, you're not going to see Samuel L. Jackson here. I got it. I liked it. I know it's probably going to surprise you. A lot of people anyway. I liked it. I thought Samuel L. Jackson's Uncle Sam was great. Actually, I thought the music was pretty good. Now, I'll be clear on this. I could not understand half of what he was rapping. I just couldn't. I thought the costumes looked good. I thought the stage looked pretty good. I know I put a post on there. The choreography wasn't great because I'm pretty sure that I could have performed every one of these moves that were being done out there. But I actually kind of liked it. I could see I like the beats and the tracks that they had. I liked the flow that he had. I thought it was catchy. I liked it. Now, having said that, I have no idea what this beef between he and Drake is, and I really don't care. I like the American flag iconography with the dancers. And again, like I said, I thought it was catchy, but I think you're kind of missing the mark here. I think they're missing the mark because when I think Super Bowl, you got 100 million people or so around about that are watching this. 100 million people. You want people, especially for your advertising dollars and for the NFL, you want people to not shut it off. I think this is too much of a niche, small amount of fan base for this particular entertainer for the Super Bowl. It doesn't cast a wide enough light on folks that are going to want to watch it. We watched the whole thing, my wife and I. Mama Kelly and Finch, we liked it. I couldn't understand what he's saying most of the time. I don't think his particular style of music and flow was great for a crowd because they definitely couldn't hear because we're getting the direct audio. It would have been very difficult to discern what he was saying. But as far as the whole show itself, I didn't think it was bad at all. I could 100% see myself bouncing that out of my speakers when I'm driving down the road. However, I don't think it was good for the Super Bowl because typically on some of these performances, they would have other artists joining in. And I did have the one girl, and I thought she sang great too. I thought Serena Williams was awesome. I'm a Serena Williams fan, dominant tennis player, right? I thought she did great, and it's just not for the Super Bowl. It doesn't cast a wide enough net of interest across the number of people that are going to be watching. Now, if this was their thing, younger people who are fans of Kendrick Lamar, I bet they loved it because I enjoyed it. But yeah, it just wasn't. I think it was a miss. I think it was a miss for the Super Bowl. They could have chosen someone better because I think when Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg did it when the Bengals went to the Super Bowl because that's my local team. They were good. They were good. They have all kinds. They had Eminem and they had all kinds of different people, who were they're recognizable by a lot of different people my age and folks a lot younger. They know who all those people are, and I think Kendrick Lamar was there during that day too. So, but yeah, I think it was a miss. To be honest with you, Taylor Swift probably would have been a better choice. I know she probably wouldn't have done it since her boyfriend was playing, but she wouldn't have known it. But she would have been a better pick, um, you know, playing for the Super Bowl. So, anyway, that's my thought. That's my thought on the Super Bowl. I didn't think it was that bad. The game, a lot of people say it was boring. I didn't think it was necessarily boring, even though we knew what the outcome was going to be. Here's another thing, too, about that the Kansas City Chiefs before I move on to the courts. I didn't think until halfway through the third quarter. That's when I started to believe that there's no way they can catch up. But up until that point, there was no point that I thought that Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, it wasn't possible for them to come back and rally and win. We saw the Patriots do it against the Atlanta Falcons, and they were down, I think, the same number, maybe a little bit less. But up until that point, halfway through the third quarter, I thought they still had the opportunity and enough time to do it. They just didn't do it. And, hats off to the Philadelphia Phillies. Or Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know why they're tearing up their city over there. City of brotherly love. I don't know why you're doing that. Philadelphia is an amazing city. It's an amazing city with a lot of history, a lot of fantastic things to see. I hate to see that. That's ugly. And you don't want your city to be a laughing stock because of stuff like this, but they continue to do it. But anyway, hats off to Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. I thought they played great. Tell me what you think about the Super Bowl. Make sure you leave us a comment. By the way, while you're doing that, make sure you like and subscribe as well. No matter if you're listening or watching, whatever platform it is, make sure you like, subscribe, follow, and comment. And let us know how we're doing and what you thought about the Super Bowl. Now let's move on